Welcome back to the Social Work Race podcast, guys. You know we are having these discussions for social workers all the time. In this episode, I'm going to play you a discussion I had with two people. Firstly, a mother who was brave enough to join me on the show. It was a live session on Instagram. Her name's Rachel, and she has 3 children, and she has also a child who has multiple diagnoses. So she discusses her challenges in parenting, how she's overcome a lot of the challenges, and she even gives us access to resources. It was an awesome discussion. So I'm going to present that to you now. Please enjoy.
Hiya. Sorry.
Not at all. It's not you. It's not you at all. It's technology. Let's blame technology.
Oh, yeah, totally. I'm not good with technology these days. I'm terrible.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, guys, please welcome Rachel to the show. Of course, you are very brave to do this because it's not for everybody.
No, yeah, no, I kind of realised that. Yeah.
Okay. And I think, yeah, guys, just share your love with Rachel because it's not a joke. It's not easy to come on the social media and share your story. It's not easy at all. So what I would like to do is just break some ice and say, tell us how you came across. Are you getting a lot of love now? Tell us how you came across the channel and what brought you here. Oh, your audio's gone now.
The volume's gone. So I found you on TikTok just randomly, flicking by as you do. And because of the conversation that you were having regarding children with special needs and how social workers can help parents that have got children with special needs, I kind of commented on a few things, and I was really it really caught my attention that as a social worker, you're wanting to learn more and get parents' opinions on how social workers deal with parents like myself who have got children with complex special needs and so forth. I mean, I had social workers in my son's life from the age of 4 to the age of 16.
Hold on, let's pause there. You're running ahead.
Sorry.
Not at all.
Sorry.
Not at all. Because I would like more of an intro as to who you are. So it's more like, okay, you found a channel. I appreciate you. We've had discussions. And before we get stuck into it, because Rachel has got a lot to share and she's got a lot of insight and she's speaking to us as a parent. So there's a lot here for social workers. There's a lot here for frontline workers. There's a lot here for me. And there's a lot here for Rachel as well. So we've had a lot of discussion beforehand and preliminaries. We want to know who you are and what you do, because to be fair, you don't look like someone who's struggling. Do you know what I mean? So you look like you're doing very well. However, I'm sure behind all that youth and all that excellent coping mechanism is there's a story behind it, right? So
Yes.
also, I just want to say as well, Rachel is not a social worker, of course. So sometimes language is used, and people have really. I put up a post about parents who are challenged with children who exhibit violence or physical assaults in the home. And some people not many, but some people were really angry with the language. And so language, don't be offended by the language, please. Just learn from what's being said here. Rachel, I've got your back. I won't tolerate any disrespect, but if you have any questions or queries, or if you want to critique, please do that. But understand that we are here. We have to talk from the heart sometimes because it's quite an emotive topic. So be forgiving and be graceful. Rachel, tell us what you do.
What I do as in where I work or so forth. So basically I'm a medical secretary at a hospital near to where I live. I've only just managed to go back to work. I took 5 years off. And the reason being for that was because it was too stressful. I was getting phone calls all the time. my son went to a specific boarding school, but I was still getting phone calls, and mentally and physically and emotionally, I couldn't cope. So to go into work on a daily basis, but still getting phone calls all day, every day from the school, even right through from when my son was young, I started noticing he had special needs when he was 4. I decided, and a lot of parents do, they just decide it's easier to not work. If you can afford not to work, then I've got friends that have done that. If you can afford not to, it's worth it.
Yeah.
For your own self-sanity, it's worth it.
So is that you taking an economic hit to
Yeah.
look after your family? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'm a single parent, have been since my youngest was born. So he's now 13. So basically 13 years. And it's not been easy, but we make the best of it in our situation. It has been hard work, but now that I enjoy going to work. I enjoy the 3 days that I do go to work. And then, but the one thing I did as well during that time was I volunteered 1 day a week as well. So I wasn't, I didn't, I actually volunteered with a constabulary, should I say?
Okay.
With the civil service, basically. I could volunteer with the civil service. So I was with them, but it let me deal. I've always been in admin work. I've always worked. I was a legal secretary, and then I worked in courts. So from there, I then decided to volunteer just to keep myself in the loop, so that when I did go back to full-time work or part-time work, I then had the references to fall back on. Because if not, jobs aren't interesting in somebody that hasn't got a reference.
Wow. There's a tip. Okay, we've got our first tip for the night, and that is at least volunteer.
Yeah. Because then I had a reference. I had at least 2 people that I could ask for a reference when going for a part-time job.
Wow. So guys, listen, Rachel has come in nicely, and my encouragement to you is to ask questions. And even if you're angry with social workers, I get it. You might not, just ask your questions. As long as we're respectful, please, we may or we may not answer it. Jordex90 has said, I work full-time in health visiting and school nursing, and have 2 children, 2 children with different diagnoses, 1 neuro and 1 not. And the pressure is immense. Wow. Okay. But how can you even volunteer if you have no respite from your child?
This is what I did. I volunteered because it's volunteer work, I did it when they was in school hours. That's when I did it. And because my son was able to was at boarding school, he was, that's when I was able to do it. But usually you can because you're a volunteer, you could just do 2-3 hours volunteering a day. You don't have to do a full day. You can just, and I think it's like, there's a volunteering, if you put in Google and do volunteering within your area, you can just look up and it will tell you where you can volunteer, which services you can volunteer with.
Okay, we'll come back to those questions. So Rachel, they're coming in.
Yeah, I know.
It's really distracting, but it's all right. Please ask your questions. We'll try and answer them. Rachel, start from the beginning. So tell us, how many children do you have?
3 children. So I have 1 girl, 2 boys.
Yeah. And what, do you mind saying their ages?
I've got 1 18-year-old, 1 17-year-old, and 1 13-year-old.
Okay. And can I ask how many? I'm always going to ask your permission. Okay. There's a reason for that. So when I ask your permission, please think before you answer. I want you to be comfortable about your answers. Yeah. How many of them have diagnoses?
So the middle one has a diagnosis, and recently, this is the annoying thing, my daughter went all the way through school until she got to college, and that's when we believe, and then it was college that pointed out that she may have ADHD.
Wow, when she was what, 16, 17?
Yeah, I went all the way through primary school, all the way through nursery, primary school and high school without being told ever that there was an issue. We only got to college and her teachers were going, you can't sit still, you can't concentrate, you do this, you do that. And you look at it and go, how did I miss it? How did I miss my own child when I'm fully aware of my son having 9 different disabilities and become very well aware of what each disability brings to the table? So I thought I was very clued up on it, but actually no, even I missed it. But I think trying to be kind to myself, I think I was too wrapped up in the middle one to notice. But girls mask a lot.
Well, the point is here. I mean, Muvatera says it's proven that females are harder to diagnose.
Here's the kicker. I've just been diagnosed at 44.
What? Do you mind saying what?
With ADHD, yeah.
All right, we're coming to it.
Yeah.
We're coming
so
to
I've gone 44 years with not being diagnosed.
We're coming to it. All right, we're getting there. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so maybe we could start. You were wrapped up with the second one. Guys, I want you to know, I'm used to doing live sessions. I've been doing live sessions for like 6-7 years now, 7-8 years maybe, on a different platform. I'm used to it, but this is flowing so fast, I'm trying to pull it back. And Rachel, it's not to do with you. I'm seeing the comments. It's me, because my brain's doing 10,000 things. So forgive me if I'm in and out of things, but we want to get through everything we can today. So here we go. What was it? So your daughter was displaying certain behaviors and it was missed, I guess. And then your middle one, how did you deal with that?
So basically from a very young age, he started showing signs, especially when he started primary school. And he started showing signs that something wasn't quite right. There was just something, the way he was, his mannerisms, hood up. He liked to wear a hood with the hood up. He liked to go under tables. This is going to sound really, he liked to go to the toilet but be butt naked in the toilet.
At school?
At school.
What age are you talking about? Is
4.
This is all right?
This is 4. Yeah, this is the age of 4.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, so I started noticing little things at school. And obviously little things, the teachers as well would say certain things. Certain things just weren't, for me, certain things just wasn't adding up at all. But unfortunately, so life went on, little things here and there, and because he was doing okay in school, nothing was fine. We got to year 4, I think, year 4. So, and then we got to year 5 and things. So, in primary school where they stay in one class and totally fine. But in years 5 and 6, they then have to start moving about, they go to like different classes for different lessons.
Okay.
That's the change that I started to notice, and that's the change the teacher started to notice. He couldn't handle the change of going from one class to another.
Change. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a common thing.
Change is massive. Okay. Okay, darling, it's fine. We go. All right.
No worries, we're going to wait. So we've got, let me go through some of these. Should I go through some questions?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Okay, how can you volunteer? I think we'll have to come back to that one. Yeah. Do schools put it automatically to bad behavior? That's Myrtle Lawrence. Yeah. Do they put it down to bad behavior? At first, I think they're doing better now, to be fair, because it's a big topic now. But some schools can miss it. Some teachers can, because there's such a diversity in the spectrums, or the spectrum that, it can be, some things can be construed as bad behavior. Let us know when you're ready as well. Rachel.
Yeah, I'm ready. I had to just move out the downstairs.
No worries. So, don't worry, we'll come back to the questions in a minute. Go ahead.
So we got to the age of year 4. So whatever age that is, I'm not sure. I can't remember, to be fair. I'd say about 8 or 9. things started to play up. He started to play up. We get to year 5 and he just can't handle the change from going from one classroom to another.
Yeah.
And he starts acting out. Unbeknown to me, and this only came apparent a couple of weeks ago, where he said to me, well, I knew that he was getting bullied. And at the time, he would never lash out. He wouldn't retaliate. He wouldn't do anything. And I was going into the school and having conversations with school. And unfortunately, the worst thing they did was they decided to lock him in a library, lock him in the school library with other teachers. And he just went violent. Yeah. And he said from there, he learned that the only way to cope and to get people to listen to him was through violence.
Yeah.
This is something, he's now 17, and I've only been told this, that the reason why he was so violent was because he, from a very young age, thought that the only way to get people to, like teachers, to get their attention was to be violent. So he got to the point where he was so violent at this school, he then got obviously excluded, and he got put into what's the school's called? You know, when they're not a special school, but it's like a school for naughty children.
Pupil referral unit.
That's one of them. He went to one of them. That's when we were picked up. They then said, yes, there's something wrong with them, that we're not, you know, we're not just talking about a naughty boy here. In the meantime, it's social workers are involved, and social workers are like, okay, Rachel, you've got to go on parenting. The typical, you've got to go on parenting courses. I think all us parents know about them parenting courses. You've got to go on them. You're like, okay, fine, I go on them. I do what I need to do. I think there was one parenting course I actually had to say to them was, how do you expect me to deal with a child that's like this? You can't parent me on a child that is displaying completely different behaviour than the normal neurotypical child. So that's what was so. And I remember social workers saying to me, "It's all in your head. There's nothing wrong with him. It's all in your head, and it's your parenting skills."
And when roughly did that happen? How long ago was that when you started to be hearing that?
7-8 years ago. So then we were referred, because he was so, we tried to do the autism diagnosis. We went to the local place to get the local CAMS, that's it. We went to the local CAMS to get the autism diagnosis. And they were like, he's too complex. So we went to the only tier 4 in-house place in the whole of England, in Cambridge. We stayed there for 6 weeks, and there was a lot of other children similar to my child that had multiple diagnoses. Yeah. We came out of that. We stayed there for 6 weeks, just myself and my child, and we came out with 9 different disabilities.
Yeah.
So we came out with autism, ADHD, ODD, which is oppositional defiance disorder.
Read. Go on. Yeah.
We've got hypervigilancy towards mother's needs.
Oh no, say that again, a bit slower.
Hypervigilancy towards mother's needs. Severe sibling rivalry.
Severe what?
Severe sibling rivalry.
5.
Sensory processing disorder. And then there's another one called neurotypical something or other. I can't remember it, sorry. There are a few others, but you know when you're like, there's so many. But it was good to finally get the diagnosis. I've just seen in the comments, so that was at the age of 10.
What comment is that?
Okay, there's a comment here about EHCP plan. Right. So I know all about, Cameron has one, and it's 32 pages. Yeah. So as soon as we got that diagnosis, there was about 15 of us in the room. We had a meeting, and it was declared that my son at that time was too violent to go back into any kind of mainstream school. He would have to go to a specialist boarding school. As soon as that was done, the EHCP was then put into motion, and I went through that with a fine-tooth comb. with another company, this lady helped me do it. So that was one thing.
This is an important piece of information here. So you're talking about the EHCP and you went through it in detail.
Yeah.
Important, guys, because you've got to know what professionals are saying, because they could say something that might not quite be the case, or mum's just, you know, Rachel is got her finger on the pulse on this. So you've got someone to help you. Can you say who that was? Maybe.
In all fairness, I can't remember. Sorry, I can't remember. There was,
it's fine. Where were they from?
So,
what was the institution?
There was a company in Suffolk that would do these really good yearly get-togethers of different professionals for children with special needs. And I would go to, and a couple of my friends would go to, and there was always this one company, I think they might have stopped though, but they would help parents out with their EHCP plans. And they were trained to go through these EHCP plans and to help parents go through them. So I would meet for coffee with a lady, we'd go through it for a fine tooth comb. She would say, right, we need this, we need that, we need this, that, and the other in it. And we got one that is 32 pages long.
So what you can do after the show, if you get any information, just send it to me and I'll post it on the TikTok channel. And
yeah, I look for it. I look for the help that I got.
Sure.
One of the best things that, I mean, I mean, I have heard of the EHCP plan because I had so many diagnoses. It was hard for them to A, turn it down, or B, for them to like kind of, and because of the report that was written by this tier 4 place in Cambridge, nobody could turn it down. Nobody could deny what was going on. And it was very much a clear cut, both reports, very much like he had to have a 2-to-1. Yeah. Things had to be clear to him. There was